Well, hello. Facebook again. I have three special guests with me today. Welcome in, everyone. Welcome in, Alina, Trish, and Carolyn to my show today. And we're going to talk about discussion today is microplastics. So, a lot of people have no clue when we say that. I didn't even know a few months ago what all that meant. So that's why I thought I would bring awareness and then they can all say their piece of this, what they've researched. And, when we're actually living our life and consuming our food and water and products, we have no idea the amount of plastic that is in these things that we're doing on a daily basis. So I did a little research and I'm going to go ahead and talk about that. When we are consuming microplastics, we're consuming it through our clothes, fibers, fragments, water bottles, film, foam, food containers, microbeads, cosmetic and hand sanitizers. And we all consume 24.4 trillion amount of plastics through humans and animals. And of course, then we're eating the animals. So we're actually getting a double dose there if we're eating animals. And about 114,000 per year on drinking and in the air. And you don't realize all of this going on. And we even have nanoplastics that get into the brain through the blood brain barrier and the placenta. And all of these things can cause hazardous on our health, like heart disease, heart attacks, blood clots, cancer, reproductive organs, fertility, and it goes on and on and on. And, it's harming our bloodstream and our blood vessels. And here's an alarming fact here. We have 300 to 600 micrograms of microplastics in each organ, and take that amount times 10 in the brain, which equals about a teaspoon of plastic in the brain. And when we have all this plastic in our body, we can't operate and function normally. It's actually unbelievable that this has not been brought up anywhere. And what I'm hearing is that they don't think this is a big deal. They don't think there's no health issues with all the plastic that we have in our body. And remember, plastic doesn't break down. We have to physically remove it. So, we have found things to remove plastic, and that's what we're going to lead to this today. So before we kind of come to the conclusion and how we can get rid of plastic, I'm going to hear from the other people on this Zoom today via live on Facebook. Welcome in, everyone. Alina, what is your take on microplastics?
Wow. The past several months, I learned a lot about microplastics. I didn't know, we weren't told how harmful they are. I didn't know that they clog up your micro vessels that are in your body that make up 70%, just like your heart cardiovascular makes up 30%. I didn't know that. And I didn't know that microplastics can clog that up, which can lead to all kinds of health conditions. And you can only imagine what they are. Like you said, they're in our cosmetics, they're in our clothes, they're in our plastic bottles, our plastic wrap. And a
Mhm.
big one that nobody really thinks of is tires. So
Mhm.
you're burning rubber on the road. Where do you think,
Mhm.
the microplastics are being emitted through, just regular traffic with cars, tires of all things. I just
Mhm.
learned that a few months ago. I was like, wow. So like I said, they clog up your vessels. The chemicals from these microplastics, from what I've read and what I've learned, to name a few, could contribute to, I can't make any claims, medical claims, but can contribute to ADHD, respiratory diseases, hormonal diseases, cardiovascular diseases,
Mhm.
neurodegenerative diseases, weight gain, metabolic disorders like diabetes, decreased birth rate, cellular damage, and a big one is inflammation. That's what I learned about it. Like I said, I can't make any claims. I can't make any, health
Mhm,
diagnosis, but that's what I've learned. So that's big. That's
mhm.
very big. And like you said, there's some things that we can do about it. And I'm looking forward to discussing that. So that's all I have to say about that. And I'll let the others speak.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
That's amazing, Alina, everything that you have covered because we are kind of been in the dark, like going to the doctor, getting on pills for diseases, but why not take care of the root of the problem and like fix what's going on so that we can live our best life? So thank you for your research. Trish, what do you think? Any input, Trish?
She covered it really well. I just look back at all the things that I've had wrong with me that have gotten better, and it makes total sense. Inflammation, the things like the neuropathy and things like, I mean, if you're blocked up, you're going to have conditions and conditions that you didn't really expect to have. But we'll call it genetic, even though what 1% is genetic. Is that right,
Right.
Andy? I'm not a
Right.
professional, right? Um, so it can't be all just genetic. And we've been living in this toxic world. I was trying to think back when I first started eating TV dinners. So I was born in 1969, and I think probably like when I was 6, it became kind of a lunch thing, the big old Swansons and all that.
Yeah.
And they would have metal containers, and then they went to plastic containers, and
Mhm.
you're just doing things out of convenience. And I think that's where we get in trouble. So I have literally switched to glass containers, glass jars. Everything is glass, glass, glass.
Mhm.
Um, and then reheating, I want to throw my microwave out. Like I don't
I
even
know.
need it, you
Yeah.
know? So I've started doing things in the oven, like trying
Mhm.
to just heat in the oven, or heat it on the stove. Just those small conscious moves that you can make can help. And then get on a protocol that helps clean that out. And really just be conscious about what you're doing. And I think you'll be in a really good spot.
Exactly. I definitely agree with that. And like I said, we didn't even know it was a problem. And it's funny you brought up those dinners. I remember that. I remember I was into the lean cuisines.
Oh, yeah. And they were in plastic black containers. Like,
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
so
And
terrible.
let's face it, everything in the grocery store is in plastic. I mean,
Yep.
unless it's metal. It's either
Yep.
plastic or metal, right?
Yeah.
So we gotta, I think we need to start changing things, don't you think? In the grocery store and the restaurants and the food and everything, but that's another day. So Carolyn, I know you've got a lot to say. So what have you found out about microplastics?
Well, it's just everywhere. There's literally no getting away from it, and there's not going to be any getting away from it for many years to come, even if we do get it all cleaned up, because it's just such a big mess that has been created. When you said, where do we find the microplastics? Angie touched on a little bit of this, but here's everywhere that they're finding. Now, this is these discoveries are from autopsies, right? So they passed away, and now we know where all the microplastics were. So the brain, obviously, it goes to the brain. Like you said, you all have a teaspoonful. You can get a teaspoon. Where are you going to put that teaspoon? You got the size of a plastic teaspoon in your brain. All of us do. All of us do. We want to get rid of that. That's not good. So here's something that's interesting. They're in the testicles of the male. So how many parts per million are actually in the testicles? Well, you're going to be shocked. 8.2 million milligrams of microplastics are in the male testicles.
Wow.
That is insane. That's absolutely
It's
insane.
insane. Yeah.
Also have a ton of them in our bloodstream. They're in blood clots. They're in the carotid arteries, breast milk, the placenta, your lungs, your heart, your liver. It's everywhere. So we have right now, today, 50% more plastics in our brain than we did 10 years ago.
Mhm.
Really? And what happens when you have this plastic in your body? Well, it causes inflammation, causes brain brain fog. It causes a bloating, bad gut health. So, we all have our guts are the big deal in our bodies. You cannot have bad gut health, or you're just going to have you're not a good life. You're gonna be sick a lot. So it's gonna have, it's got the bad gut health, it's got inflamed skin. So if you have, a lot of acne or redness in your skin, well, microplastics, you have a lot of microplastics. And there's also chemicals in these microplastics that you
Mhm.
want in your body. And one of them is called a phthalate, which is actually endocrine interrupter. So that's gonna affect your hormones and everything. That's in a lot of candles too, so be careful. Bed Bath and
Mhm.
Beyond or Bath and Body Works. Don't buy them candles. Um,
Mhm.
where else does it come from? Where else does microplastics come from? The food you eat. We already know that. Everything's wrapped in plastic, or we ourselves use saran wrap to wrap it in plastic. And then we freeze it in Ziploc freezer bags. Yeah. What are we going to do? We have to
Mhm.
these habits and learn about it. So it's in your food, your water, your air, your water bottles, food containers, the clothes we wear. It is really
Mhm.
impossible to wear 100% linen, Merlin wool, or I'm not even sure if cotton is really that good anymore. It's really, I've tried to do it myself. It is like really, really hard to do. So you really have to be careful. Just read the labels. It's not like I'm going to throw out my whole wardrobe because can I afford to buy a whole new wardrobe right now, especially in linen?
Mhm.
No, but I have purchased some linen and a stand-up steamer because that linen is wrinkled all the time.
Mhm.
So here's one thing about the micro. Oh, and your comfy blankets, your lovely. Oh, this blanket is so freaking comfy. Well, look at the label. It's usually going to be 100% polyester, which is 100% plastic. So as
Mhm.
you're snuggling by the fire, your skin's absorbing the microplastics, and more than likely the nightgown you're wearing is also microplastics. So and your cutting boards too. People use plastic cutting boards.
Mhm. What?
I do too. I'm not going to, I have two of them in my cupboard right now. I'm going to throw away when we get off of this. Because no, use wood. Whenever you can, use wood. Also, our cleaning
Mhm.
sponges. Our cleaning sponges, like probably get in trouble for saying the brand, but the Scrub Daddy, Scrubby Mommy.
Yeah.
Those are full of microplastics. So, and I
Mhm.
love that. And I have tons of those. So I'm
Mhm.
guilty of that. So also your sea salt. So if the salt actually literally comes from the sea, well, what's floating in the sea but a gigantic freaking plastic island? And now your sea salt has microplastics in it.
Yeah.
So you're going to want to use milled salt, like I believe it's Redmond Mill that comes here from Utah, which is just down the street from where I live.
Mhm.
So it's really good.
Mhm.
I
I
want to
like that
research.
brand. Mhm.
Yeah, it's really good. It's delicious. Um, so here's a bad thing, Angie, because you love seafood, but seafood contains more plastics than any other meat.
Mhm. Because it's in the ocean.
It's in the ocean. And this is what I
Mhm.
learned about the ocean. So micro and nanoparticles are smaller than the microparticles, are
Mhm.
everywhere in the world. Even
Mhm.
if we stopped all plastic production today, microplastics will still continue to increase around us for centuries as existing plastic breaks down. Is that not sickening? For
Mhm.
centuries, even if we cleaned it all up, there's just for centuries.
Mhm.
Because
Mhm.
where are you going to put it? Where are you going to put it? There's nowhere to put it. So we've
Mhm.
made a mess with no real way to clean it up. What are we going to do? Well, we're going to have to, the only way we can clean it up is clean up ourselves, clean up our homes, the absolute best that we can. So we'll talk about that later. So wastewater treatment plants catch a lot of the microplastics that we rinse down the drain. We are from our washing machines as well. It goes down, it goes into the sewer. And so where does it go? I mean, where does it go from there? Well, it goes into what they call sludge. And what happens to the sludge? Well, over half of it gets spread into farmlands. So they're taking the microplastics, turning it into fertilizer, and spreading it over the farmlands. That means the particles we shed go into the soil, get taken up by the plants, eaten by the animals, washed back into the water supply, and eventually right back into us. It's a vicious cycle. It really is a vicious cycle. There's a plastic island in our ocean. It's called Sp- the Great Pacific Garbage Patch. This is twice the size of Texas.
Oh my
Has
gosh.
1.8 trillion pieces of plastic. Microplastics from the island
Mm.
infiltrate infiltrate marine life and human food chains. Obviously, we just went through that. So the Pacific Garbage Patch is located between Hawaii and California. It is 1.6 kilometers. It's 1.6 kilometers. The weight is over 80,000 metric tons. That
Wow.
equals 500 jumbo jets. 500 jumbo jets
Oh, wow.
weighs as much as this gigantic garbage patch. And what is in there? Most of the garbage patch is mostly fishing gear, bottles, and packaging. You know, everything we have, everything's in a package of some kind, unless you learn how to can it yourself, grow it yourself, can it yourself. And I'm starting to learn how to do because it's just disgusting how much. So how much plastics are in a bottle of water? Does anybody have any idea how many plastics are in one bottle of water? 12 ounces of water.
240,000
240,000 detectable
particles.
microplastic particles, right? With levels ranging from 110 to 400,000 particles per liter. Per liter. Most of these particles are classified as nano, which are smaller than the micro size. So this is getting into everything. These nano ones are getting into your brain and everything. And then also these chemicals, besides the folate, that are in these plastic bottles. So when they get heated up in the house, just by your hands are going to heat it up as you hold the bottle. So PEP, which is polyethylene terephthalate, PA, which is polyamide, PP, which is propylene, PS is polystyrene, so like saxophone, and PVC, polyvinyl chloride. I worked with PVC a lot for a lot of years, touched a lot of PVC.
Wow.
And MMA, polythiacolates. I cannot pronounce that word. So bottled water is a significant source of microplastics with levels much higher than previously estimated. So we have got to change the way we look at our life. We really do. So does anyone have any idea how much we all carry around? At least a credit card size of microplastics in our body. Every single one of us has this in our body. In our body. Obviously, in smaller pieces than this, but that's a lot of plastic. That is a lot of plastic. And that doesn't count all the other plastics that are in there too. That's the credit card. Once a week, we're consuming this much plastic. Once a week. What the heck is going on? This is not good. Well, we have some testing that we can do that you can see how many microplastics are in your body, which I am very fortunate that there is very little in my body. And we'll tell you a little bit later on why that is. So I have only 6 to 10 milliliters of microplastics per million, 6 to 10. So pretty much that's undetectable. That is, I basically have no microplastics, 6 to 10 per million. That's very, very little, right?
It's amazing. And the average is what? We saw a report in Dallas, somebody had 1,500 and then went down to 60. And then you were, from doing quantum, you're at what'd you say, 6?
6 to 10. 6 to 10. And that's because I've been doing quantum, the iHercules, for 9 months now. I'm in my 9th month. So really would have had this test ahead of time to give you this is the before and this is the after, but I don't have that. But this is still proof because this is just, I did stop using plastic water bottles quite a few years ago, but when you don't have a choice, you're out somewhere and you didn't bring your plastic water bottle, they won't let you bring it in and you have to use theirs. You have to buy it. Don't sell it in glass jars or bottles. Not to say that some of the glass we use isn't plastic coated too, so we really got to be careful. We really got to. We just discovered that the Coca-Cola can, when melted down, actually has a plastic liner inside of it. So not only are you getting aluminum, but there's microplastics inside of that can.
I'm like, we're doomed with metals and plastics, like I said, with all of our stuff. So thank you, Carolyn. Was that all the data or did you have more?
Yeah, that's good. We could go on for probably hours and hours and hours, but yeah, it all comes back to the same thing. Everything that is wrapped, Oh, the microwave too. I discovered that if you, which I don't really use the microwave anyways, but if you put plastic in the microwave, not only are you getting the microplastics, but you have just accelerated the microplastics, and it's just like dancing, like yes, and it's really getting into your food even more than it would have been if you had not microwaved it. I don't know why whoever invented that thing was out to kill us. There, you don't need that microwave, and they're in every house. Every single house has a microwave.
Yes, and you were correct. And so before we get into quantum about this, what are some ideas, all three of you, on how we can change on what we're buying, what we're storing our food in? I do have to say this, never, ever, ever, because I saw a TikTok video on this, ever use glass straws
Oh, yeah.
because a lady
I'm
did it
drinking glass
and it
straw.
broke and the
Oh.
glasses she swallowed it was inside of her, so don't do that.
Yeah.
But what are some ways you guys know that we can kind of stay away from plastic?
Well, first of all, you can get metal, or I'm sorry, not metal, but you can get glass water bottles. You can get them on Amazon. They're really nice. Like mine are not close enough for me to reach. And then I just keep those full of Kangen water in the refrigerator. So even when people come over, we don't hand them a plastic bottle. They get this, and they're always like, "Well, what's this?" Well, this is Kangen water, and it's not going to give you
Yeah.
microplastics. So here's your glass bottle. Please take this information with you and change your life if you can. So I
Yep.
try to wrap anything in plastic that is literally touching the food, right? So I'll put parchment paper, unbleached brown parchment paper over the top, and then wrap it in plastic if that's what I have to do because there's no lid, right? I don't have lids
Right.
for everything.
Yeah.
And freezing, I don't know. I don't know. Does someone have an idea for freezing? Because I vacuum seal, those are freaking plastic bags.
Yeah.
Can't freeze glass because I did that, and that's don't do
I
that.
mean,
Yeah,
but we
that
have
will break.
freezer paper, but is it wax or plastic?
Wax.
It's wax. Okay.
Yeah, so you got the wax,
Um,
but maybe wax is going to be better. I don't know. We have to find
I
the
don't
better
know.
tools. But I don't
Yeah.
know how to freeze things without wrapping it in. I can't put it in a glass jar. I did that with mason jars and they break. Doesn't work.
What did
yeah.
butchers used to do when they wrapped your meat? You could put it in the freezer. They wrapped it in
Right.
paper.
The
Butcher
paper.
paper, but now the
Butcher
butcher paper
paper.
has kind of shininess on the back of
Yeah.
it.
Paper,
Yeah.
maybe paper and then plastic, so we're not getting the plastic directly on the meat. I don't know.
That's the best I can do. Is like make sure just wrap it in some kind of parchment paper that is unbleached before the plastic if you have to, or the
Mhm.
tinfoil.
Yeah.
And then also check, make sure that if you're using castor oil, any lotions that you use, that all comes in a glass.
I have
Glass,
Yeah.
some pictures.
glass, castor oils in glass. If you
Yeah.
buy something and it's not in a glass container and it's the only way it comes, then I bring it home and I immediately remove it from that and put it into a mason jar so that it's not going to continue to sit in the glass. Also with the rotisserie chickens, holy shit. I mean, they're delicious. They're
Yeah.
actually cooked in microplastics.
Do not eat
Yeah,
them. Do not eat them.
No.
Nope.
Do not
No.
do those. I used to do them a lot because they're so
Me
convenient,
too.
so delicious. And I'd bring
Yeah,
them home.
but if you looked up the chemicals in
horrible.
the rotisserie chicken at any grocery store, you would be floored because I already looked at that,
Yeah, they're
especially
horrible.
COSTCO.
Yeah.
That's the
But-
one I bought.
I have some pictures of some plastic that came out of my face.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
show.
so
Yeah, go
I
ahead and
don't
show
know
it.
if it's gonna show well. It's
I
not
don't
gonna
see.
show well. Okay, so I had them come out up here, and let's see if there's a reflective, so I may have to turn off a light.
Yeah, turn off the light and then show it.
But oh my god, technical difficulties. Okay. Okay, here we go. So this one, no, it's still glaring. What is going on? Okay, it's not gonna work. So
Well,
I had it up.
Trish, you could
What?
go ahead, you could, after this live, you can go ahead and post the picture underneath
Yeah,
this video.
I'll post them in
Do
the
that.
in the comments. Yeah. So
Okay.
yeah, but they call them plastic nurdles, and they come out of your skin, and they look like beanbag ballies, like little beanbag ballies.
Yep.
But when you're taking the quantum, that's what the result of that is. It starts pushing out of your pores and out of your skin. So there.
It's amazing. And that all happened with the quantum nutrition. So, I mean, all of us four, um, before quantum, we had plastic. And now, since Carolyn did that, and we've all been taking it around the same time, we would probably test what she tested, which is next to nothing. And so we just saved our own lives with
Yeah.
all of these health issues
Yes.
that could have existed in our body.
Yeah.
So the main part of doing this Zoom via Facebook Live today was to bring awareness, because all of us didn't know about plastic until we came on with quantum nutrition. So I hope that you guys can see that we all learned this too by the company, but then did our own research, all of us, and came up with all of this data that nobody knows about. And I do know people know that are making these things. I think they are aware, but maybe there's no solutions yet. So the solution that we have is doing the quantum nutrition. The 4 sprays 3 times a day of iHercules is pushing all of that out. The parasites, the fungus, the mold, the yeast, the spike proteins, the metals, the microplastics, all of these things is being pushed out by plants. So we're bringing in plant nutrition, and then we're getting out all of these contaminants in our blood. And if people don't know about this, how are they going to get the plastics out? I don't think there's another way. And if you guys are interested on how to test for plastics in the blood, Carolyn can probably put down the info when we're done posting this and put the company's name and phone number. And I also have some labs under my website that we could test as well.
Absolutely. I will do that.
Okay,
Yeah.
awesome.
It's a great test to do because you really need to know what you're working with, because you're not going to go into the doctor's office and they're going to say, oh my gosh, your inflammation is caused by the microplastics in your body. They're not going to say that. They're going to say, here's a pill.
Yeah, they don't know. I don't think a lot of them know. I mean, I can't speak for all of them, but are your doctors going to tell you this? Do they even know? I mean, we can't avoid plastics. We can do the best we can with the suggestions, that Carolyn gave and you gave, Angie, and Trish, but it's always going to be around. But the greatest thing that I have found through quantum nutrition, we can do something about it. So
Yeah.
that's a blessing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we can.
I'm so glad that we are aware and that we're becoming knowledgeable, because knowledge is power, and that we're taking over and we're becoming a boss with our own health. And before, we kind of relied on everyone else to do it for us. And that's why I was sick for several years. And I'm sure you guys had your own stuff going on. So it is really a big deal. And that's why I wanted to come on today to bring awareness. And I feel like we're going to keep doing these topics here and there to do the same thing moving forward. Any final thoughts that you guys want to say? Alina, start with you. Any final thoughts?
Just kind of what I said, we can't
Yeah.
avoid plastics completely. And, there's, we can get around it a little bit, but, thanks to something that we know about quantum nutrition, and Carolyn's proof that there's undetectable plastics in her body, there's something we can do about it. And, that to me, that's a blessing.
Absolutely. And Trish, any last minute thoughts?
Just thinking about a lot of things I had to deal with and I'm still dealing with, like inflammation, things that I could possibly prevent in the future. Well, that just right there gives me some hope to not have to deal with those things in the future, because I really don't want to go to that building with all the people and all the stuff and all the testing. I want to stay far away. So it's just a layer of protection that I feel like I'm really blessed to be able to share with people.
Awesome. And Carolyn?
Well, one way that you guys can all take your health by the horns and reduce the amount of nanoplastics, microplastics in your life, get some air filtration going in your house with some really good filters, some HEPA grade filters, some medical grade filters. I have a whole system in my house, but I still have 2 additional medical grade air purifiers going in the bedroom where we sleep and then downstairs as well. So we do that. And you want to change the filters in your furnace. Check those every, what, at least a month. Just take a look at it. Make sure you have the right size filter in your furnace. It should actually, however big your slot is in your furnace, your filter should be as wide or just slightly less wide than and it should fit in there tight. If it doesn't fit in there tight, it's not working properly. So make sure you check that, keep that clean, get your your air ducts in your house, get your ducks in a row. Get your air ducts cleaned at least once a year because you need to go through, especially if you have pets. I got 5 fur babies in this house, so we get our air ducts cleaned once a year. We check the filters. We got the other air filtration going on wherever you can. Here's one thing that people probably don't think about a lot. You know those plastic gloves that we put on? Because we don't want to touch things. We don't want to do this. We got to come up with some other way because you don't want to do that anymore. And the rug you're walking on in your bare feet is, unless it's 100% merino wool, it is microplastics. It is. The couch you're sitting on, even though I just bought a new couch and I absolutely love it. It's velvet, it's green, it's beautiful. It's one big giant plastic island. So, and so it's the beautiful blankets I just bought too. So I'm like, just do baby steps is all you can do. Drink out of water. You can buy bottled water in the store in glass. That Green Valley, Mountain Valley, or Green Valley, Mountain Valley, I think it is. It's in a green bottle. Fabulous. Fabulous. I wish they had it here for home delivery. They don't have it where I am for home delivery. Or I would have that sitting there, even though I still have the Kangen. Yeah, it's nice just to have the Mountain Valley. And there's also one, I believe it's called Voss, which those are both very good options if you happen to be in the store and they have glass. Just pick the glass first if you can. If you can't, you just make your best choice because we do have to have water and food. So I don't know. Just look at what you're doing and see how you can change it is all I can say. And Quantum, get on.
Of course.
Hello. Yeah. Get on it so that you can also have 6 to 10 per million microplastics in your body. It'll probably never be 0, but that is pretty close to 0.
Yeah, good points, Carolyn. I have one of those air purifying machines and, helping to kind of clear out pollen and pollution through the house that way. But if I had a house, I would definitely do that HEPA, what you were saying, or HEPA filters as well. So the bottom line is we try to make changes daily on be conscious and aware about all the plastic and Quantum nutrition. I mean, we don't want to end up in the hospital with blood clots and all of these health issues. So we have to pay attention what's going in our body. And remember, they spray everything, soy, wheat, corn. So we're dealing with a bunch of things at one time, the plastics, the toxins, the chemicals, and we're getting an overload. So we need to detox. We need to get this stuff out of our body so we can live our best life. And I do believe that quantum nutrition is big with all of it. So it's incredible that we're all on this journey together. It's incredible that we can educate and bring in knowledge. Like I said, knowledge equals power. And, just pay attention to all the little things that we do every day. And, we can't change right now the system and how everything's made and plastic and everything, but we can change in our body by helping remove it all out. So that being said, definitely contact us if you want to get on board. 9 bottles for a complete blood upgrade, but you need 12 bottles for complete blood upgrade. But 9 bottles is the biggest package with auto ship. And then in 4 months, you're golden, and then take for life. That's our new way of medicine, so that we keep all of the contaminants out, plant nutrition in, and then we are living our best life. So thank you so much for all 3 of you, Alina, Trish, and Carolyn, for your knowledge and support and just coming in today. And thank you for all the followers who have watched this today. We're really getting into a lot of things and probably coming on here almost every day on Facebook to share. Since I was off for a year, there's a lot of things people have no idea about. So yeah, thank you everyone for tuning in, and we'll see you tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. Thanks.